Welcome back, everybody, to We Know Texas Vino. We are broadcasting live today at Sandy Road Vineyard in, is this Stonewall or is it?
It's Johnson City, Texas.
City?
We're out in the country, though. It's Blanco County.
Blanco County. Okay, we were actually just talking about that coming in. So, well, in this episode, we're going to be sitting down with Brian. Thank you, Brian, for having us on the show here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Together, we're going to talk about, sorry, I'm reading my show notes here because I didn't have them prepped earlier properly. Together, we're exploring Texas wines, what truly makes it worth knowing, from the vineyard's original story and the hill country terroir to how the connection with community, land, and legacy works together.
Right on.
So, yeah. So, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I've tasted many of your wines prior to this. In fact, I actually have judged a couple of your wines, and I was really, really impressed with the wines and stuff.
Thank you.
So I've been wanting to always come out here, but we could just never make timing work. So
well, glad you're here. Yeah, and I know I was kind of waiting until we got our new tasting room done, and we finally got that finished, and we're super happy to be here with our brand new big tasting room and everything. So
I've been hearing about the new tasting room. Been hearing about this legendary tree house. We'll talk about that later.
We do. Yeah.
So, well, before we get really deep into this, Brian, so tell everybody who you are and how did you come up with this?
Well, my name's Brian Chogley, and I can give you my backstory. I wish I was the one that came up with this, but I guess, going back to the story, my wife and her sister's side of the family have had the land here for actually 101 years this year. So 6 generations living out here. But about, 12 or 13 years ago now, my wife's sister married a winemaker. Okay. And so, you have land in the hill country and a winemaker in your family, you end up making wine. That's
just a given there.
That's how it's going to work around here these days. We fooled ourselves. We were, his name is Reagan Cividon, wonderful winemaker. Has been making wine for Ron Yates, and Spicewood Vineyards for a long time. And, we started with the idea of growing grapes. We were just going to grow grapes and sell grapes, and that was it. And then, the minute you get some grapes and make a little bit of wine, it's just a snowball from there. So that's kind of how it happened. But that was about 12 years ago that we started doing that.
And when you think about how long you've been doing something, you're like, wow, it's been 12 years since we've been doing this. And then you think about it even further, and this is a story that was told to me by a older winemaker, that you only get one time a year to make wine.
Yeah.
So you've been making wine for 12
no
years.
mulligans, no do-overs either. It's a pretty stressful thing. Yeah. So it was me and my wife and her sister and Reagan. My wife's name is Adrian. Her sister's name is Christina. And, we would come out here. Grandparents lived out here on the farm, the little farmhouse that you drove by. Okay. 100-year-old farmhouse. Wow. And we would come out here for holidays and Thanksgiving and Christmas and drink a bunch of wine and sit on the porch and watch the sunset and like, oh my God, this is living, right? Like this is what I want to do. I want to retire out here and enjoy Texas hill country. And so about almost 10 years ago now, we got the bug to start the vineyard, and the 4 of us would come out here every weekend for 4 years. Wow. So all of us have full-time jobs, to pay the bills, come out here on the weekends and start the vineyard. Dug every hole, planted every vine, pounded every post. If you go down by the bathrooms in the tasting room, you'll see some pictures on the wall of my wife, Adrian, and Christina, like pounding posts in the ground, like the hardest working women in the Texas hill country, as I like to call them. But you put 16 acres of grapes in the ground. It's a lot of hard work.
Right. And I know, okay, so I come from a ranching background. I worked on a ranch, and I've had to put poles in the ground and stuff like that. That's some hard work.
Especially out here, it's all solid limestone.
Oh yeah. I did it over in Waco. So, and I definitely understand that putting poles in the ground, specifically, you want to grow something that's going to put a lot of weight on it. You got to make sure those poles are in the ground. Yeah. You got to make sure you have them in there properly. In fact, actually, I know I was reading an article the other day about the importance of actually having your the end poles in an angle to offset that weight.
Yeah. I mean, we would love to get, 3-4 tons of grapes per acre, and so when you think about not only the weight of the vine, but the weight of 4 tons of grapes on a trellis system. Like that's a lot of weight, and you gotta build that to last 20, 30 years.
Yep.
So.
And then on top of all that, you got to make it easy enough to repair so you don't disturb the vines.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work into that. So so y'all started planting vines here. What was it now? 16 years ago.
So the first vines went in the ground in the spring of 2017.
Okay. So almost 11 years now. 9 years.
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a math person.
I know math is especially in the morning. Usually I have a 2-drink minimum requirement to do a podcast, and at 10 in the morning I haven't reached that yet. So yeah.
Oh man. So what did y'all plant? So y'all's first vines y'all planted?
Yeah. So we started with Tempranillo.
Okay.
Sangiovese, and then a weird grape called Mencia, which is a Spanish red grape. Those were the first blocks that we put in.
Okay.
And now we have 21 acres total, 11 varietals, and this is all Spanish, French, and Italian things. So I can name them all if you want, but
I mean, that's if you want to. I mean,
yeah, if I can remember them all. So the Spanish grapes we have are Tempranillo, Mencia, and Prieto Picudo, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Oh yeah.
We have Sangiovese, which is Italian, and then we have Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, Marcelon, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and then Roussanne.
Nice. You got a nice little variety out there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You got a good selection to go out there and just kind of make whatever you want, blend wise or single varietals.
Yeah, and we're very excited now that most of these things are coming online and producing a good amount, that we have enough extra to make some good blends with.
Right.
Because I'm passionate about Texas blends. Red blends, I think, are one of the things that are going to set us apart, and I'm very excited to make more of those.
Oh yeah. So there's 2 varietals that you mentioned. The first one was a Spanish one. I still can't enunciate it.
It's hard to say too. Prieto Picudo.
Prieto Picudo.
Yeah.
Prieto Picudo. That's kind of like me saying Pasaros.
I always say God bless you after you say it. Yeah.
One more time.
Prieto Picudo.
Prieto Picudo. I'm just going to call it Picudo, okay? We're just going to call it Picudo, okay?
And depending on who you ask, it translates into something different. But the formal, I think, Spanish translation really just means little dark chicken beak.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that from those words. Yeah, I can see that.
So the grapes are real dark skinned, and then they have like a point at the bottom.
Oh.
So it kind of looks like most grapes have little round bottoms.
Right.
So
okay.
That's how they distinguish them. But
interesting. And then you've got Marcelon, which I've never heard that before here. In fact, both of these I have not heard before y'all.
Yeah. Marcelon is a French Bordeaux grape. They cross-pollinated Cabernet Sauvignon with Grenache.
Okay.
So the goal was to be able to grow Cabernet in warmer climates.
Right.
And so we saw that, we were like, well, Texas is warmer climates.
Yeah. Oh,
I bet it'll grow in Texas.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we picked that one.
So, all right. So the Picudo.
Yep.
We're going to start with that right quick. So I know that y'all have had 2 vintages of that now, correct?
At least, I think 3.
Okay.
I think we've had 3.
Because I know I've judged one of those and I was just floored by its taste. And every time I came out here, I was trying to come out here to get a bottle of that. And
it's sold out.
And it sold out before I got out here. Yeah. So obviously it was a very good one. And then we came out here yesterday and tried some, and I was just flabbergasted at the taste.
It's very unique.
Yes.
It's definitely different. And one of I think the cool things about Texas wine is that you can try, I think we grow like 90 something different varieties around here. And so like you can try all sorts of different grapes and they all taste different. And it's about exploration and discovery. And I can only, you can go to California and drink Cabernet 10 different ways, but you can only do that for a little bit.
Yep. So what made y'all choose that varietal then? Because you're the only winery or the only vineyard in the United States growing.
We are the only ones in the U.S. To be growing it and producing wine with it. It is in Rioja. It is a blending grape with Tempranillo.
Okay.
So when we planted that and the Mencia, the idea was to make a Spanish blend with Tempranillo. Yeah.
How's that working?
We haven't gotten there yet. The one problem with that grape is it does not produce a lot of grapes.
Okay.
So it's very low yield. If we get a ton an acre, we're ecstatic.
Wow.
And sometimes we don't. And so we just made, a little bit of single varietal because nobody knows what the heck it tastes like. So it's like, well, let's figure out what it tastes like first. And then once we understand it, then we'll make some blends with it.
Right. So how many rows of that do y'all have planted?
We have 2 acres.
Oh, 2 acres.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
everything we have is 2 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your test vineyard's 2 acres too.
Yes, it's a 2 acre test vineyard.
Gotcha. Okay. And then what made y'all choose Marcelon then? You say it's got cab in it for the warmer climate and stuff, but I mean, but was that just the only reason why, or you just wanted something different out here? You'll be unique.
Yeah. Given that this is the Texas spirit, right? Like we'll do anything, we'll try anything. Right. And, so, we tried to find some unique things, some different things that we thought would grow well here that people weren't growing. And, you never know unless you try.
Right. So. And of course, last night was also my first time trying that Marcelon. And both me and Becca fell in love with it.
It's my favorite. That's my happy hour wine.
Happy hour wine.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh man. So all right. So you get out here and you get your vineyards planted. You got your grapes chosen. You got everything growing. And I know y'all started out with just a very small tasting room. Was it just the tree house?
We started with a tree house. Yeah. So we're located about let's say 10 minutes west of Johnson City.
Okay.
And about 4 miles north of 290. Okay. So the wine road in the hill country is 290 that connects Johnson City and Fredericksburg. So we're a little bit off the beaten path. And so we didn't know if we could get anybody to come out here. 10 years ago, there were no other wineries on what we call Sandy Road. And so we were like, nobody's going to come out here. It's like, we're not going to spend a ton of money and build this big thing and nobody show up. Right. And so, I'm a tech startup guy. I did software and stuff in Austin at tech startups. So I'm all about like starting small, innovating as you go. Right. As like, what's the minimum viable thing we could do out here and see if people would show up. So we came up with this treehouse idea.
Okay.
We had an old mobile home on the property that we were clearing as we were clearing everything for the vineyard. And so we tore it down and under it was this giant metal trailer, giant I-beams and everything.
Okay.
And we were like, how are we going to get rid of this? Like, are we hauling this to the dump or whatever? And, after a few bottles of wine, you get creative ideas. And Reagan was like, hey, let's make a treehouse out of it. And
hey, you know what?
And it turned out to be one of the best ideas he's had in a long time.
In a long time? I like that. Make sure he hears that really well.
Yeah.
And having that treehouse is very unique because, every winery needs to have something that's unique. And I've heard multiple stories about this treehouse, and I've told I need to come out here and look at this treehouse. And when we came out here yesterday, I'll fully walk out there. But I did take a look at it, and from the distance, it was a beautiful place.
It's it's a little far away. It's a far walk from the tasting room, which I curse myself every time when I'm having to walk back and forth from it. But it's up in a tree. It's like a raised deck. We have a private table that seats 12. Okay. Lights in the treehouse. It's beautiful at sunset, and it overlooks our 16-acre estate vineyard. And so you can be up there. Our wonderful tasting room manager Andy does the tastings up there, and so you'll taste through estate wines, and every one of our bottles has the row numbers where that grape was grown. And so you'll be like, hey, you're drinking our Sangiovese, it grew right here. And so you really get a connection with the wine and the place and the people, because it literally came from like right there. You're looking at it. And I think that's one of the things that makes wine really special.
Oh yeah. And you might have it at a distance from the tasting room, but what you're doing there is you're actually separating the people from the rest of the tasting room, so that way they're not being distracted.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think it makes it more of an intimate tasting event.
We call it an elevated experience.
Good.
Yeah.
Intimate, elevated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that. But also notice, like right next door, y'all have a little tasting room out there.
So I guess 5 years ago was when we started with the treehouse.
Okay.
And lo and behold, people showed up. And so we were doing good tastings there. And then 2 years after that, we built what we call the pavilion, which is a little indoor-outdoor space where we were also doing tastings.
Okay.
And then 2 years later, we built this.
Nice. So. Yeah, I've been literally watching y'all, and I saw that y'all were fixing to open this up, and like, oh wow, this is amazing. We definitely need to come out here now. But I'm glad we're out here. I'm glad to get to really taste more of your wines than I have, and wow, I'm surprised that you are not like out there on the top list. Trying to take over William Chris now.
I mean, we're up there. I mean, last year we were the sixth most awarded winery in Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, so
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
So you got a tree house. Now you got your tasting room. So what's next for Sandy Roads? What's going on? Are you planting any more vines coming up? Any more experimental stuff?
Well, I mean, we just planted the 5 acres, I guess 3 years ago now, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and Roussanne.
Okay.
So I feel like that was kind of a next expansion for us. Okay. And then this tasting room is our next expansion. Those are big steps for us. You know, we don't have investors or anything. Like, we just do this ourselves. And so, we're just, rubbing nickels together until we can take the next step.
Right.
I think next we'll try to start getting more of the winemaking equipment here and be able to do everything on site. I'd really like to be able to do that pretty soon.
Nice. So one of the things that you and I talked about yesterday is about your vineyard, how up here at the top of the vineyard was one elevation, and at the very bottom here is a different elevation. And then you were talking about the soil difference from the top to the bottom. Yeah.
So when you come out here, the property is 100 acres. But you drive all the way to the back of it to where the vineyard is and the tasting room, because the soil was way more interesting back here than it was at the front of the property.
Right.
And when we saw all the things kind of line up, we were like, oh, we have to put the vineyard here. So first of all, it's on a little bit of a hillside. So the top of the tasting room down to the bottom it's about a 50-foot drop.
Okay.
So nice, slow slope down to the bottom. That slope faces the morning sun, which is really great for growing grapes. You don't want them to get hot.
Right.
And going down the hill, we have white chalky limestone at the top.
Okay.
We've got red clay in the middle, and then we've got literally riverbed sand at the bottom.
Okay.
And so if terroir is all about, one of the things is about the soil type that it grows in. And it really does change the wine.
Right.
Sand makes for a lot lighter, more fruit forward, kind of elegant wines. Limestone gives it a lot of structure, a lot of minerality, really good with the acidity in the wine. And you can taste the difference as you taste up the hill, basically.
Right. So when you was planting your vineyards, did you realize what kind of soil you had, and you kind of planned ahead, say, okay, yeah, we're going to plant these grapes here?
Yep. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. So we dug a lot of holes and looked at the soil and sent them in for samples and everything like that. And, the sand at the bottom, we were like, oh my God, we're going to put the Grenache in the sand, and we're going to put the Syrah in the rocks, and really be able to differentiate those that way. So, yeah,
that's awesome. And a lot of people when they come into the tasting room and I talk to them about the soil and how it has an effect on everything, they look at me like I'm crazy, and I say, well, different types of soils make different types of flavors, and they just you can see the brain trying to think about that. And I know when I first started doing this, I had a hard time understanding it myself, and the more that I go down rabbit holes. Because we all go down rabbit holes when we start looking into the grape stuff and the soil and everything else. We just kind of spiral out of control. And I didn't realize that one type of soil will make it taste this way or look this way or give it this kind of color, and then so forth like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, well, why does why do we grow grapes and make wine everywhere in the world, right? Why does French Cabernet taste different than California Cabernet, taste different than Texas Cabernet, right? The soil is one of the reasons why. The weather, the climate, the temperature, how much rain, who's farming it, who's making the wine, all of those things change the wine and make it different. One's not better than the other. They're just different, right? And that's what makes wine cool, is like, if you really are into wine and into discovery, you can like taste all those things and really appreciate the differences, which I think is awesome.
Right. Well, and talking about the terroir in California and France and stuff like that, how's Texas like shaping the world of wine right now? I actually had this conversation with a gentleman the other day, and I've been asking different winemakers now this. And so,
I mean, we're trying, I think we're getting out there. Texas is getting more recognition than ever, for sure, in the wine industry. And, we're winning a ton of awards, not just in Texas, but in San Francisco and New York, and really getting Texas wine out there, I think is helping, people understand that Texas makes wine and that it's actually darn good.
Right.
The main problem that we have right now in Texas is, I think last I saw, it's like 99% of the Texas wine is consumed inside of Texas. So we like to drink our own product. So that's
we're not getting alcoholics at all.
It's not getting out yet. So, we need to grow more grapes, make more wine, and get it into distribution, and we'll get there.
I think we have, from my statistics, words are hard today. Okay. I'm saying with you, I hadn't had 2 glasses yet. But I heard that the last couple of years, we've actually had just excess grapes just hanging. And it's sad to hear that, because people are like, we need more grapes. Well, we got to take what we got already now.
Yeah. So just as an aside, I'm also president of the Texas Wine Growers Group, which is a group of wineries in Texas that are focused on growing and making 100% Texas wine. And that means all your wine is made from 100% Texas grapes. Right. And we think that's important because, terroir and place is important in wine, right? But not all places in Texas do that.
Right.
And unfortunately, they add, let's say, some California wine to their Texas wine. And because they do that, not all of those Texas grapes got sold. Right. And so if everybody would make Texas wine and support Texas wine, then those Texas farmers would, that's their lifeblood, right? If they don't sell those grapes, like they're not making it that year. Right. And so you can't sustainably do that for very long without losing those farmers. And
it's
important.
It's sad that I've heard several vineyards this last year didn't sell any of their grapes, and it's because the cost of living has gone up, the cost of everything has gone up, so it's everything has hurt a lot of our grape growers also this year. You know? So when cost goes up, the spending goes down. So I know I got some more questions here. Hang on.
All right,
I got to look here. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like y'all started doing a lot of small batch winemaking. And now you're doing something much larger than that.
I mean, we are a very small batch boutique winery for sure. We are. I think the definition of a micro winery is 5,000 cases. Like, so we're micro. we're a very small winery.
Okay.
So we have 8 varieties and 2 acres each. So we're making around, let's say, 200 cases of each wine a year.
Okay. So you have Reagan and your wife and his wife.
Yep.
So, and how many people do y'all have here that work with y'all?
We have now 2 people who help in the tasting room, and we have a couple guys who help in the vineyard.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Nice. And y'all are just still growing too.
Absolutely.
Have y'all already maxed out this tasting room yet?
No, the tasting room, I don't think so. But this winery side, everybody says make your winery twice as big as you think you need it to be. I'm already feeling the pain of that. I just wish my pocketbook could have made it twice as big, but
well,
we're going to squeeze everything we can in here.
I've been doing this podcast now for 4 years, and that's the number one thing I hear from every episode was like, they say double the size of what you want, and you'll outgrow that within a year.
Yeah. So we literally been here for 6 months and we're already like, all right, well, where's the next building going to go? Like, oh God, don't let my wife hear that. She's going to kill me.
Well, you know, she's going to hear this because it's been recorded, right? Just bleep it out.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You edit that out. Yeah.
So where is Sandy Roads going from here? I mean, you've got the tasting room going. You've got great wines. You're the 6th most winning winery in Texas. Where y'all heading to from here?
Well, I mean, you know, our goal is to just be a small boutique, family run estate winery. My wife and I are going to build our house out here. We're going to retire out here. You know, this is kind of this is more of a lifestyle, right. and it's about, you know, making good Texas wine and sharing it with friends. So we don't want to be a huge winery. Right. We don't want to have, you know, 50 tasting rooms all over the place. And
that's fair.
I managed a lot of people in my previous job, and I'm like, nah, I'm done with that.
Yeah, right. I get that.
I don't need that stress in my life. I'd rather enjoy some wine.
Done running reports and making pivot tables.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, with that being said, I know we started talking about this before we started recording, that y'all have all kinds of nice events out here, like the one we did last night.
Yeah.
I know we'll try to go a little bit into this for the education part, but that was definitely an interesting event. So you had Cooperage 1912 out here.
Yeah, we had one of the Cooperages come do a really cool tasting event here. It was mostly for winemakers, but basically getting to taste through wines made in each of their different barrels, right. And really kind of understand what makes them different and, right. and what you appreciate from each one. Right. And it was a good time.
Oh yeah,
it was a lot of wine.
and you know, being a very young winemaker, I still am trying to learn a lot, and I usually try to learn myself, and then I like to pass that education off to my listeners as well, because there are people out there who really want to learn more about wine. They don't want to be a winemaker; they just want to understand more about the wine, you know. And that's a lot of the reasons why I came to that last night, because I want to know more about barrels. I want to understand the barrels. And one of the things that actually cracked me up, I won't say cracked me up, it made me understand the barrels a little bit more, is one of them was talking about hydro barrels. And I was kind of like, okay, what do you do? Sit in and take a high pressure hose and just hose it off instead of charring it? And I think it was either you or somebody was explaining it to me last night about it, where they just take the stave and soak it
before they toast it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty impressive, the things that they do with barrels. And if you're into wine, or if you're getting into wine, like, it's such a rabbit hole. Like, once you start, you know, thinking about, like, well, what goes into this glass of wine, and then you realize it's like thousands of different decision points over, you know, probably 3 or 4 years before it got into your glass. Yeah. And the barrel is like, you know, maybe 50 of those decision points, right? Because it's, you know, well, what species of wood is it? What forest did it come from? How was it, like, dry aged inside or outside? How was it cut? Where did it come from in the tree? How was it toasted? Like, all of these things impact the flavor of the wine. And it's like, oh my God, like, you know, no, and that's just, you know, one small part of it. You know, you have all the yeast and any nutrients, and then how you grew the grapes and where they grew it. Like, all of that goes into the wine. And then you're like, oh, that's why every wine tastes different. Right.
Yep. Well, you know, one of the, between the hydro and one other thing he actually was talking about was the heart of the tree. And I, for whatever reason, I never thought about using the heart of the tree for barrel staves, or even making barrels. And then I get to sitting there and thinking about this. Of course, I go into another rabbit hole. I was like, all right, so how much wood do you need to make a barrel, especially when the heart of a tree, if it's small, you need a lot of trees to do that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why, you know, people always ask, well, why don't you make barrels out of Texas oak, right? Because it's, you know, it's made out of oak everywhere else. It's like, well, like, look at those barrels and how straight those staves are, and then go look at a Texas live oak and see how, like, many knots and twists and turns it has. Like, you would never be able to make a straight barrel. Oh yeah, but you know, they do have that. Was it the Texas white oak? They're doing some chips now, so you can you can like dip them into your wine to get some Texas oak in there. Yeah,
interesting.
We'll see how that turns out.
You know, I actually had a taste of a cab the other day that was done in a Texas white oak.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Yeah, I'm already in line to buy cases.
You're going to get some.
I put a 10 up the day he puts it on sale. I'm going out there with a 10.
Good deal.
But it's actually even a good thing there. A lot of people ask, why don't we do it with mesquites and why don't we do it with other trees around here?
Yeah.
I can't answer that question. I don't know if we can or not.
Hey, it's Texas. You can do whatever you want. Let's figure it out. Like we'll give it a try.
Right? Say, hold my beer or hold my wine.
That's right. Yeah, hold my wine. I'm sure somebody will try it.
You know what? I got a small batch of wine. I might cut me down a mesquite tree and see what happens. Hey, you never know. I mean, what's the worst going to do? You just can't drink it.
Yeah.
And you just wasted 3 gallons of wine.
Yeah. Give it a try.
So, well, Brian, it's been a great conversation. We're sitting here with you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Tell me, is there anything we want to cover or I missed about Sandy Road?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just tell you a little bit more about our property. So, we just built our new tasting room. We have a full tasting room with a full kitchen. We make a lot of good foods out here. My wife is great at cooking a lot of things out here for us. I think y'all enjoyed one of the pizzas yesterday. Yes. So
we didn't just enjoy it; we devoured it. The bread, yes.
Yeah. So if you're hungry, come out for that. We're open Thursday through Sunday, 11 to 6. Treehouse we do on the weekends when the weather's nice. We've got a 2-acre lawn that overlooks the vineyard, so you can hang out outside and enjoy the beautiful Texas Hill Country and the weather. We're sitting in here in the cellar right now, and we have a cellar table that we do basically 5-course food pairings with our wines. So you can come for a really nice 5-course lunch and paired with our wines. We do events. We do corporate events. We do weddings. We do proposals in the treehouse. We just had one of those last week, and she said yes, so that's good.
Someone just gave me the eye. Someone just gave me the eye.
We can make it available for you whenever you need it.
Oh man, but and that's kind of cool. I was sitting there thinking that treehouse could be a lot of things for people out here. Yeah. Sorry, I just went to another rabbit hole, so I had to pull myself back out. So it sounds like y'all have a lot of stuff that go on out here that people like. Oh, you're good.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, we try to be, we're the winery for folks who have been out to the Texas Hill Country before and been to the big wineries on 290 and, are ready to try the next thing, right? To try to find the real authentic Texas wine, small family producers, and really understand what it's like to grow grapes and make wine in Texas. And that's what we do out here. Right. So it's when you come out here, you're part of our family, and you get to enjoy our wine and our hard work, and nice. It's a good time. So come on out.
Okay, so we're going to diverse just into a little something else.
Okay.
I'm going to catch you off guard on this.
Oh.
So you made mention about Texas wine growers.
Yes.
All right, and you talk about what they stand for. Mm-hmm. So I know you briefed on it just a little bit more, but kind of hit people about it, what they could do to be a supporter of it, because I know we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So Texas wine growers, go to texaswinegrowers.com. It's a great list of 17 Texas wineries that grow Texas grapes and make Texas wine, 100% Texas. And we believe that terroir is important in wine. That's what makes wine special, right, is the place where it grows, the people who grow it, the people who make the wine. That's what makes a wine unique.
Right.
And for Texas to, I think, be on the world stage of wine, it needs to have a place and a perspective that is different and distinct from other places, right? To do that, it needs to be Texas wine, right? You really confuse somebody if you've got California wine in Texas and a California wine and you're on the world stage and they're like, well, I thought Texas wine should be different than California wine, but it tastes like California wine. Well, it's because that was California wine, right? we think that's important. And so, 4 or 5 years ago, our group championed some legislation in Texas around truth in labeling, because, at the time, 75% of a wine, if it says Texas on it, can be Texas wine, but 25% of it can be California wine. Right. And that's okay. When Texas got started, we didn't have a lot of vineyards. We didn't have a lot of wine. Sometimes we had bad weather in Texas. And so we had to, some people had to supplement that, especially the big guys. But to be authentic and transparent and focus on place, we passed legislation that says that if it has a Texas county or a Texas AVA on it, that bottle of wine has to be 100% Texas grapes. And so that way, that is all Texas grapes. And so just things like that, everybody has their own vision and mission on how they want to produce wine and how they want to make money in the wine industry. We're just saying be transparent and authentic.
And I'm 100% with that. I will say this: when I first started doing this podcast, I didn't really understand what's the word I'm looking for? How I can't even think of the word, but how big Texas wine industry is. And this was 4 years ago, and it has exploded since I started doing this. And I met a gentleman, and you probably know this gentleman. His name is John Reifenberg. And I met him.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I met him at Twigger, my very first Twigger conference I went to. And he came and sat down, and we started talking about Texas wines. And I have to give it to him, who made me really want to push more for Texas wines and learn more about Texas and the wine growing, the grape growing and the winemaking industry that we have going on here. And I try to really push really hard for that. Yeah.
Well, I think you can have, I think there is a wine industry in Texas, and that's different than the Texas wine industry.
Yes.
Right. Does that make sense? Right.
Yes.
In Texas, you can have a winery permit and not grow any grapes and not make any wine and get a bottle of bulk wine that's already bottled in California and put your label on it and sell wine in Texas.
Right.
Like a wine bar.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the wine industry in Texas. Right. The Texas wine industry is folks who are growing Texas grapes and making Texas wine and doing that. And so I think those are different things, and it can be confusing at times, especially out here on 290, because you can go to 100 wineries down the road, and some of them
are not
making Texas wine.
Yes.
And some of them are not even from Texas.
Yes.
So,
we won't name any names.
but I will say for your listeners, if you come out to the Hill Country, go to TexasWineGrowers.com, look at those wineries and support the folks who are growing Texas grapes and making Texas wine.
Oh yeah.
We're actually farmers. It's an agricultural product, and you will love the wine, and you'll come back and you'll bring friends.
Oh yeah. And you always get a great experience. I've not had a bad experience at any of the tasting rooms here at all.
Yeah. Texas hospitality is a real thing. And especially, if you're farming grapes, these folks are real authentic people, and they would love to have you out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Brian, where can people find y'all at your physical address and also online?
So the address is 383 Vineyard Row in Johnson City, Texas. Sandy Road Vineyard. Yeah. SandyRoadVineyards.com. You can buy our wine online. You can make a reservation to come out and see us. We ship to 38 states. We're all direct to consumer. So almost everything is sold from the tasting room or online. Join our wine club and enjoy the wines. Come party with us out here.
Yes.
We're in a few places, mostly places I like to go eat.
Right.
It's like if I like to eat there, I'll drop off a case of wine for you. So you can find us in a few places.
Okay.
You'll probably find me there, but mostly all from here. So
gotcha. Okay.
So check out our website.
And I'm trying to, coming from North Texas, a lot of people, honestly, don't want to drive 4 hours down here. And I'm going to go ahead and do a name drop from one of my sponsors real quick.
Okay.
So Eric at Old Vine, Texas, brings that up there. And I think he has some of your wines.
He does have some of our wines. Yeah. If you're listening, Eric, you could get some more.
Actually, I got to call him here a little bit.
There you go. Yeah. And if you live in the Dallas area, we do free shipping. So that's something I think that's pretty awesome. And if you join the wine club, you get up to 20% off on the wine. So 20% off and free shipping is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all. Yeah, because wine can be a very expensive shipment.
It is. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. It's like, we try to minimize our packaging, have recyclable packaging, have lighter weight packaging, because like the shipping costs for shipping wine is very high.
Yeah.
So free shipping is it's
a bonus.
Yeah. It's 15-20% off basically.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, Brian, we're going to step away for just a quick second. We're going to take a little small break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back. We're going to do a small thing on education. We're going to actually talk more about the barrel stuff.
Okay.
If you want to talk about that, or we can talk about it whatever you want.
Sorry, my phone goes.
No, it's okay. But yeah, we're going to just take a small little break.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then we'll come back.
We'll see you in just a second.
All right.
Hi, this is Eric, buyer of Old Vine, Texas, your premier Texas wine tasting room in DFW, featuring 100% Texas wineries from all over the state. We are located at 403 East Broad Street in Mansfield, Texas, inside of the Ancora Event Center. We have weekly tastings, charcuterie, pizza, plenty of wines by the glass, and live music. Our wine club brings you an extended taste of Texas and other great perks. You can visit our website at oldvinetexas.com to sign up for our newsletter, check our open hours, and see special events and classes and more. Or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Vine, Texas. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everybody, to We Know Texas Vino. We're here at Sandy Roads with Brian, and we're going to just do a little quick topic. We started talking about barrels from the last night's event, and we're going to just hit a little bit more about it because I think it was really interesting about the barrels. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get Brian in too much trouble with Reagan, but I think we're going to just touch it just enough to make him feel.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not the winemaker, but I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. That's
exactly. So when it let's just kind of, like I said, let's just do a little overview of last night a little bit more. So I know some of the things that they talked about in the barrels is that the grain structures and how much oxygen is allowed in, and the styles they make, and you even made mention. I didn't even think about the yeast, also how it affects the wood staves as well.
Could, yeah.
Yes. And then you have what, 4 levels of toasting?
Yeah. I mean, from what I know on barrels, which is not a lot, but, like you can select the forest, mm-hmm. where you want the wood to come from. You're selecting the species of wood, mm-hmm. right? So, different species of wood taste different than the other. Mm-hmm. You can decide whether or not you want that wood dry aged outside or inside, mm-hmm. right? So the weather impacting the drying of it, how long you want it to be dried, right? 1, 2, 3 years, I think. Right. And then you can, now with this new barrel that they were talking about, is you can pick like where in the actual log of the tree you got the staves from. So either in the very middle where the wood is older and denser, or on and has finer tannins, or on the outside of the tree where it's younger and a little more fresh, and mm-hmm. and the tannins are a little bit stronger. Because I thought it was interesting is because he was talking about tannin in the bark of a tree is actually there to protect the tree. Right. So like it insects don't like that. So it's a protective thing, right. But you don't need all that on the inside of the tree. Right. So you can expect, different flavor profile from the inside versus the outside.
Which I found that very interesting too.
It made sense. So.
It makes complete sense because for a lot of people, so do you know how to describe tannins to people?
It depends on who you're describing it to. But.
This is a great way to describe it. Okay. Do you like Whataburger?
Sure.
You drink tea from Whataburger?
Sure.
You ever had their tea and you drink it and you're like, oh my God, I need something else to drink now? There you go. There's tannins right there.
Sure.
And so
dries your mouth out.
It dries your mouth out. Yeah. I explain to people because tea has tannins also. And if you put too much tea bags in there, like Whataburger does, not bashing Whataburger, I love Whataburger, but it dries your mouth out. And so when I explain it to them like that, then they understand tannins.
Sometimes it's described as cat tongue. So if you've ever felt, like how it kind of feels real rough and Velcro-y, like if you have some wine that has a lot of tannins in it, it kind of does that to your tongue.
It does.
Yeah.
Tonight's one of those.
Yeah.
But, I love education. This is one of the things I love about doing this. And, even just a little bit of information like this, talking about the wood and where the structure of the wood comes from and the tannins where, you talk about, that helps somebody else understand a little bit more.
Yeah. So the other thing about like wood versus stainless steel, which is, I think, interesting is, we make wine in both stainless steel tanks and oak barrels. And the way I describe it is usually like if you have wine in a stainless steel tank, it's like taking a snapshot. Like you're taking a photo of the wine and and you're kind of like freezing it right there. And in your mouth, that kind of comes off as these sharp corners, like square corners in your mouth. And it's you kind of feel it right back there, an oak barrel kind of rounds those corners off, softens those corners, right? Because the little bit of oxygen that gets into the barrel is what softens the wine.
Right. And
so that, if you're out there doing a tasting and you taste those side by side, you can taste the difference, which I think is really cool. But yesterday they had, we had Cabernet like 6 different ways. It was from a neutral oak barrel. And then they had like 4 different styles of barrels to taste from. And they all tasted very different.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so, it's pretty cool to see, is it medium toast? Is it medium toast plus? Is it from this forest? Is it from a different forest? And it actually does make a difference.
Oh yeah. and I just want to do this shout out to Cooperage 1912 for putting on that event last night. That was absolutely phenomenal. I learned quite a bit. I took away a lot of information from there. And be on the lookout. We might be doing an episode with them. Close to last night, but somebody forgot something at home last night. That's why we're using wired microphones today.
Mic check.
Oh, right. Well, Brian, I appreciate you spending some time here talking.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. It was great getting to hang out with you.
Yeah, and get to chat with you finally, and get to come out here and drink some really great wines and stuff.
Appreciate it.
I don't have any problems drinking Hill Country wines from Eric at Old Vine, Texas. Again, another name drop for my sponsorship. But something about coming to the actual winery itself and drinking wine here is a great experience.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. And we will definitely be back. You're on my list now of places I have to hit before I can come back.
Good deal.
Go home. So,
and we'll get you a bottle of that Prieto Picudo.
Oh, yes. But we are going to get a couple bottles of that. So, well, real quick before we take off and do quotes, my number one sponsor obviously is Texas Wine Lover app. Great application. If you want to find Texas wineries on there, we have what 400 G permitted wineries, but there's like 900 listed on there. Yeah. There's quite a few out there, and so you'll find find Sandy Roads out there. You'll find all the wineries we've been to on there. You'll find them all over Texas. It's a great little app. You can download onto your phone. You can get on your desktop, make an account, plan your trip out, and then send it to your phone, and it will GPS it all out for you. So check out Texas Wine Lover app. Great little application. And of course, we've already talked about him twice now. So he's getting a third little drop off of here is Eric at Old Vine, Texas. Eric curates a lot of great hill country wines for the people who don't want to spend 4 hours on the road. Actually, it's 8 hours on the road because 4 hours here and 4 hours back. So 8 hours on the road. So that's a day of drinking. So he curates some of the best hill country wines and takes it up there. So it takes the drive out for you. You can enjoy the wine. And then if you decide to come down here, you know where you can come to. So,
and they're really nice folks too.
Oh yeah. Amazing folks. In fact, he's already asking what wineries I need to advise him to put in his
state. There you go.
So I got to make that phone call in a minute. And then of course, oh man, I just went blank. I always have these on memory. Well, if I forget them, I'll get a phone call. Well, we're going to come up now to our Texas wine quotes. And so, I got digging online and I found a lot of wine quotes, but none of them were specific to Texas.
Okay.
So ChatGPT has become my good friend now. Now, as most everybody knows, I'm an IT guy and I kind of shunned AI for the longest time until now. And I actually use AI to make my wine quotes. So for the first one here, I'm going to do is from Hill Country. Start all this over again. From Hill Country Hills to East Texas Pines, we raise glasses to Texas wines.
Okay.
Like that.
All right.
And then we're going to sway you down here to a little bit more poetic and romantic. Okay. Every drop of Texas wine carries a heartbeat of the land that it was raised in.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
So, well, this is Will.
And this is Brian.
And this is We Know Texas Vino. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.